You are now tuned in to the best damn recap show about the United Football League that there is. Back in better than ever. It's United Football Media's Tell Me About It. Week 9, the UFL going down. Not a lot to play for. Pride, tape, chances, opportunities. Guys trying to show what they have. That's what there is left to play for. And that was what was showed in the UFL this weekend. Some sparse crowds, some sparse starters, some interesting stuff. This may not be our longest episode. We apologize, but there ain't too much to analyze and break down given the state of affairs. St. Louis Battlehawks trying to do their part in earning that home playoff game that they were just handed by the league, putting down a whooping on the Brahmas Friday night, 39-13. St. Louis just continues to control both lines of scrimmage. Their pass rush is awesome. Their run blocking, their pass blocking is awesome. Great offensive lines. Win games. Brandon Silvers came in. Brandon Silvers, there's a name from spring football past. St. Louis rolls over the top of the Brahmas, continuing to win, continuing to try and put their spot for that number 1 seed in the XFL conference, earn that home playoff game. Tay, what were your thoughts on this one? St. Louis looking like the class of the league.
Yeah, they watched the podcast last week. Yeah, they definitely watched. They played their best game. This is probably definitely their best game of the year. I mean, they were doing whatever they want. You know, this is 5 in a row. Yeah, they did their thing. I mean, they were supposed to win this just to make things right. You know, it's working out for the UFL. They made things right here. You know, getting a win. Like, they started off a little rough, but they've definitely, like I said, this is 5 in a row for them. So, you know, you wanna end the regular season red hot, and that's exactly what the Battlehawks are doing. The passing game was cool. Both quarterbacks, I mean, they did their thing. Running, they were able to run the ball. They did whatever they wanted. You know, they stopped the Brahmas. They kept them 13. I mean, that's not hard, but yeah, they played a good game. They did exactly what they were supposed to. 7-2 for the Battlehawks. I mean, it makes complete sense. Yeah, Battlehawks are a pretty good team, and they put it on display against the Brahmas.
They might end up earning that thing, especially with what just transpired. DC going down to Houston. We had some concerns about maybe some starters wouldn't play this week. Maybe some lack of motivation going on maybe in this game. And that's a lot of what we saw. I don't want to ride them too much. It was said plenty on the broadcast. DC Defenders defense kind of didn't look like they didn't want to be there in the second half very much. Hot game doesn't really matter to DC at all. Houston, for their part, was fighting their hearts out. Jalen McClendon had a fantastic game, as I figured they would. That's kind of what we said in the run-up, both on DC Defender Show and last week on Tell Me About It, that Jalen McClendon would look good. There'd be some good things for Houston to get you excited for next year, but the DC elevated talent level would probably carry the day for them. And it almost did, as DC gets stopped at the very end, a la the Rams-Titans Super Bowl, after Mike Diallo drives them down, gets the almost tying score, puts in the touchdown. They can't get the 3-point conversion to tie the game. Chris Rowland is stopped 3 yards short, fumbles the ball. Game is sealed. This has been a wild transformation. Watching this DC defense, they highlighted it on the show during the broadcast, has turned into, from the best defense for the last 5 weeks through now, the worst defense in the UFL. The defensive situation has come completely off the rails, and it certainly was that this week. Very little resistance in the second half. They did come up with one stop, and then also stopped Jalen McClendon running in, forcing a fumble, recovering the ball. That's how they were able to get the last offensive drive to try and tie the game. So made a play there. DC not going in a positive direction the same way that St. Louis is heading into these playoffs, Tay.
Yeah, defenders definitely trolled this game, and what's been a common theme for the defenders have been coming back, playing down.
Yeah.
and they tried it again. Like, I guess it's underestimating teams, but this was another game where, Roughnecks were up. Roughnecks were up big, and
Yeah.
We needed a couple of touchdowns, and it got close. Like, it got interesting. Like, it was 9-24. Like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It got interesting, but the Finnish just couldn't do it. Just couldn't. It got real close, but you just can't play like that. You can't play from behind. It's not always a guarantee that you'll come back. Like, the Roughnecks aren't terrible. They're not the worst team. Like, and I feel like they figured it out. They know what they got. Like, next year, the Roughnecks are probably going to be a better team. So, Roughnecks they played well, and defenders' defense is a concern going into the playoffs. Like, it's gonna have to be a flip of a switch, because it's just not. It's only one game left. I mean,
between right now, when these power rankings release later on today, for me, they got to be number 4 of the big 4. They got to be number 4 of the playoff teams. Even above the Panthers, came off a loss. Panthers beat them, and Panthers still played their butts off and damn near won the game against the Stallions. So the concerns with this defense are very, very real for the DC Defenders. Not looking good. Speaking of that Panthers Stallions game, man, I know this hurts for Coach Nolan. This hurts for their fans. I guess the only positive that I can tell you, other than say O.C. Mariner being a bad man, 5 catches, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. The only positive that I can tell them to come away with, Panthers fans, is it just ain't statistically unlikely. They ain't going to beat you every single time. Like, at some point, the Panthers are going to win one of these games. I don't know when it's going to be, but Stallions make it happen once again over the Panthers, 26-22. Jamar Smith, they talked about it on the show. Jamar Smith, coming off of being a manager at a Dunkin' Donuts, playing phenomenal football right now. Looked excellent. 71% completion, 300 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Looked just phenomenal in this game. Was in complete control. I don't know what this, of course, both of them, Deion Kane, who was also emerging. Like, of course this would happen for the damn Stallions. Of course. It looks like it's over. Jamar Smith comes back from managing a Dunkin' Donuts, and now they have the best quarterback in the league all of a sudden. Like, of course they do. Of course this is what happens. We all thought it was over. We all thought Jason was dead. No, sir. You could see the mask in the background, barely faintly. Here they come back. Jamar Smith emerges from a Dunkin' Donuts back door, puts down the eclairs, and here he is. Boston cream. The inside of a Boston cream donut is what he left the Panthers looking like. Thoughts on the Stallions team developing, where they're headed, and Panthers, and also the Stallions team. Are we on the way to the Birmingham championship? Is now, mind you, and somebody would probably bring this up in the comments if I didn't say it. They might still. Panthers did not have the guy who we think would have been the MVP, but I don't know if he's going to play for the rest of the season. Bryce Perkins, the real MVP, maybe we could call him that. He didn't play in this game, so that, of course, is a big thing. The thing that makes me ask if that's as big of a factor is because Danny Etling played very, very well in this game. So I don't know how much better necessarily Bryce Perkins would have been, but Stallions are looking good, man. 26-22 win over a team that a lot of us, thought was the class of the league, Michigan Panthers.
I'll start off. I'll go back to your most recent statement. I think the game would have been a little different. Like, Bryce Perkins has been the most accurate. Yeah. Etling wasn't that accurate, and then Perkins is like a threat in the run game as well. Yeah. And Etling didn't. He had a couple runs, but Bryce Perkins is a true threat. Like, he'll score on the ground.
Absolutely.
If it's there. So it would have been a little different. But the Panthers, they're still a good team with Etling. I mean, he's been playing good football, the past couple of weeks. But yeah, the Stallions, this was a confidence booster for the Stallions. They really needed this one. This just all year. I feel like they've just been struggling. Like this isn't the Stallions that we know, but this win right here, this is a great win for them. Like especially this close to the playoffs, nice confidence booster for them. You know, this is what their fourth quarterback. They've been through so many quarterbacks, and it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy if they did win. I mean, they've been going through a lot. They've been losing guys and stuff like that. It just hasn't looked good for the Stallions. This was the first week I can say Stallions play Stallions football. Again, this is a great win right before the playoffs. So, this is big for the Stallions.
Bringing it together just at the right time. Speaking of bringing it together at the right time, they would have liked to do it a little earlier for the playoff hopes, but it is nice. There's a decent chance this is the last that we see of the King of Spring, Luis Perez. The King of Spring did his thing. 66%, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Television, high-def television, TV, Tyler Vaughn's. Week in, week out. Highlight after highlight after highlight. He had another incredible catch. I'm excited to see what NFL team gets him. 8 catches, 107. Arlington Renegades roll on the Showboats, 30-12. Pretty solid showing by them. Not much on the line here, except for I'm excited to see, Luis Perez go out with some fine performances, and I'm happy that Tyler Vaughns is getting more and more publicity. He's getting more and more highlights on tape, showing what he could do, boost his resume heading into NFL camp season. Thoughts on this one?
Renegades did what they were supposed to do. I mean, I wish they would have won some more of those games that they blew the lead to. But Renegades are truly this kind of team. Like, they're gonna score their points. That's one thing about the Renegades, that they're gonna put points on the board. They completely dominated the Showboats. I think the Showboats are trying to just get through the year like last year. So it was just one of those things. Renegades just took it serious. They've been losing. They were one of the best teams at the beginning of the season, and it just completely flipped on them. They just kept losing these close games. So they needed to take it out on someone, and they sure did take it out on the Showboats. Tyler Vaughn's he's definitely been playing great football, and I think it's good. It's a good thing for these guys, to move on to the NFL, because if you're an NFL GM, you got to think these guys are in game shape. Like, these guys just play like a full season. So
ready to go.
There's no issue with that. Like, I mean, you just bring them on right after the season. Like, they just played a full season. They're all in shape. You don't have to worry about that. Like, they just did it. So, definitely great. Just the timing of the league, and just everything. It's definitely, this is great for the UFL players just to move on, and just take that next step, because it's always a good thing. You always want the players to just move on and go to the next step. So, yeah, it's definitely good. Tyler Vaughn should definitely be on the NFL roster next year.
Speaking of just played a full season, we are there, ladies and gentlemen. Week 10 last season. Well, one of these games, all of a sudden, well, not really. I was about to say that the St. Louis DC game means a lot, but ultimately it doesn't, because the game where it's happening at is decided anyways. But now DC is 6-3, St. Louis is 7-2. However, they would both be 7-3 with DC having won both games head to head. So they would be technically the number 1 seed, even though the game was still happening in a St. Louis. But I don't know. You're playing against each other back-to-back weeks. Playoff matchup the next week. I don't know. I would assume both teams are going to go the route of it doesn't really matter. Don't show too much. Don't do too much. Get ready for the real showdown next week. Don't let anybody get hurt. Don't show any of your best stuff. It can be interesting to see how it goes down, and maybe it'll all work out for the UFL and their zany playoff scheduling. Thoughts on Defenders Battlehawks Friday night at 8:00 on Fox?
This is definitely going to be like battle of the coaches, like kind of like what you said. you're at a dilemma here because you're playing them again, like literally the week after, for the playoffs. So you don't want to go in this game and just troll through it like, oh, we're just gonna do whatever. You don't want to do that because then you're gonna get your guys out of rhythm. Because when you really have to play them, you're not gonna know what works and what does. So it's just like I don't know. It's just gonna have to be, who's a better coach because you want to see what would work, but then again, you don't want to just go out there and just whatever.
I'm interested to see if maybe some different guys get a shot at some playing time on that DC defense.
Maybe. I mean, that would be something. Like that's not.
There's see how they give some guys some reps and see if anybody gives you a fresher, more of a spark, more of a better look than what you've been getting from this defense for the last 5 weeks when it's transformed into the worst defense in the XFL all of a sudden. Maybe get some different guys on there either to see if they have what it takes to maybe take over some starting spots or little wake-up call to the starters who are underperforming right now. The next day, 3:00 ESPN, Houston at Michigan. I want to ask, I'm like, are we going to get a Bryce Perkins sighting? But I feel like 3 weeks is kind of a long time to expect somebody to come back in and play against the 3-time champions in a playoff game. So I feel like if he's healthy, I feel like he's going to play Bryce Perkins. What do you think of what's going to go down in this one? I would not be surprised to see Houston take this game too. Because I think that other than getting Bryce Perkins maybe a quarter or two, Michigan will probably rest some guys, keep some guys from getting hurt, let some guys heal up if they are hurt in this one because it's super after they lost the Birmingham game. There's really nothing to play for here, and they got the big matchup against their arch rivals who they desperately want to beat in the playoffs the next week. So be interesting to see how things roll on Houston and Michigan. What do you think, man?
I would go with the Panthers here. You can't lose multiple games in a row before the playoffs. I know that quarterback hasn't been there, but if I'm coaching the Panthers, I need to win. I need to see us get back on the board. I need to see us execute because then how confident are you if you do lose to the Roughnecks, like say 13-20 or something like that? Because how confident are you? You got to play the Stallions. Like, do you really want to play the Stallions after losing multiple games in a row? So I think the Panthers need this one. They need this one. This is like the practice game before the playoffs, and this isn't a playoff opponent. So Panthers need to take this game serious. Honestly, I mean. They need to get a win here. So
get themselves right.
Yeah.
Arlington at St. Louis. San Antonio. San Antonio testing out some guys for next year, maybe testing out some things. The rumors on the streets is that there's going to be a real different. Everything's going to look real different down there in San Antonio next season. And then for Arlington, let's send King of Spring and Tyler Vaughn's out on a good note. What do you think here for this one?
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely Renegades. They'll probably win this one. Tyler Vaughn's he'll go off. Renegades they're always this team. Like they got a lot of talent. Like they got the best receiver, one of the best quarterbacks. They have a lot of talent. They just as a whole just can't finish the game. And I mean they'll probably blow out the brahmas. It's just something I know it hurts. Like, if you're a Renegades fan, like they beat the bad teams, lose to the good teams, or they'll blow a lead. Like, so I mean, it's always good to get a win at the end of the year. It doesn't really mean anything, at this point in the year. They kind of played around towards the middle part of the year. They were like 3-1, I want to say, and they just started. Yeah. They thought they had it, and they definitely didn't. So. It's always great to get on the board. So why not end the season winning 2 in a row? Especially, I mean, they're getting like the easy games here. So yeah, definitely want this one if you're the Renegades.
Final game of the weekend, final game of the season. Oh boy, Birmingham at Memphis. I feel like Birmingham's going to keep rolling. I feel like Skip Holtz kind of talked about that last week. He wants to get Peasley some reps as well. but he wants to keep Jamar rolling and keep getting him back integrated in this offense. I know we've already said a couple times this is turning into the Brock Purdy got picked last in the draft repeated talking point, but like again, dude was managing a Dunkin' Donuts 4 weeks ago, so it's not like. And yeah, he's played in the Skip Holt offense before, so it's not a ton of rust or ton of learning that needs to happen. But still, you bring again a guy in off the street like that, and you're in rhythm and things are going good. It's a tough choice to take him out and take him out of that rhythm. So I think he's going to get at least a half here, and I expect. And like we said, the Stallions haven't really looked like the Stallions all year except until this last week. So I expect them to want to look like the Stallions again. Probably put the bang thing down on Memphis here. By the way, I do want to bring up, this channel, all these other places I saw all off season. Oh, it's different. It's different. We're not. Never again. Everybody, you better not fall into this Memphis trap ever again. This damn Showboats trap ever again. It happened the first year when nobody could explain to us why they were getting ranked so high. And then this year, they changed everybody out. They all knew this, all knew that, coaching staff, offensive line, da-da-da-da. We said, I don't know. And here we are again. Bottom. Never again. Showboats are going to have to prove it to us. Coming up after this. I expect Stallions to roll. What about you?
Yeah. Again, same thing I've been saying. Like all these playoff teams, like the Panthers playing the Roughnecks, Stallions need to take this serious. They haven't looked good all year. I mean, they're 6-3.
Yeah.
That's not even Stallion standard. They're 6-3. I know they would want more like 8-2. That's kind of like what they normally do. Yeah, you got the Showboats. Here's your time. We can practice whatever you want. Like, go through the playbook. See what the key
have some fun
and get rid of for the playoffs against the Panthers. So again, they need to take this serious. Try to blow them out. That's a great confidence booster going into the playoffs. So, I mean, yeah, the Showboats, they're not gonna. They don't care. They haven't cared. So, I mean, I don't know why they'll care now. It's not them winning wouldn't do anything for this. Like the Stallions are still in the playoffs. So, I mean, Showboats aren't. They already don't care. They checked out. Probably like week 3, week 4. They already checked out. So. Yeah, like I said, Stallions just need to practice their plays. You can get some new guys in there, see what you got, and yeah, just get ready for the Panthers.
You want to talk about checked out? You want to talk about don't care? This attendance for this is going to be a sight to behold. Oh man, there should be some discussions this offseason. Really, because it ain't been nothing but this in Memphis as far as the attendance. So, and this is going to be an all-timer. This is going to be an all-timer coming up this weekend, Sunday afternoon, last game of the season. Whew. This will not be the last time for us, though. We'll have almost as many people in attendance on this show as people who might be at that Memphis game. So stay tuned for that. I wonder if our guy Ace might pop out with a Roughnecks rundown. He was there today during the great Roughnecks victory, right down close to the field as the end of the game came on. He is interviewing Coach CJ Johnson right now as we speak, as we record this. So hopefully a Roughnecks rundown this week. I know Brahma Bullpen, man, those guys always nail it. Always a fun show to watch. Be on the lookout for them. I'm interested to see my man Tugboat on the PAWD podcast talk about how are they going to get over this hump? How are the Panthers going to solve this riddle, this Gordian knot that has bedeviled them for so long? How are they going to get it done in the playoffs coming up? Interested to see his breakdown on that. And of course, look out for us on the DC Defender Show right here on United Football Media. Me and Tay. Be an interesting breakdown this week of what happened. I'm sure there's going to be some interesting PFF scores out there for what I saw, especially in the second half this week. But the ball keeps on rolling with the playoffs coming up. So check that out. Check it all out here on United Football Media. This has been Tell Me About It.